Are you ready for the great weaning? Hi, I'm John McNeil, and this is the Invest Strong Network. Welcome. What is the great weaning, you ask? Well, of course, since really March of 2020, the federal government has been doing extraordinary things in order to support the American economy and those persons, families, corporations that comprise the American economy, help keep them afloat during the teeth of the CV-19 pandemic. Now, by necessity, these emergency programs will have to end. And in fact, some of them already have, right? But there's still many that are going on, right? And these things have been a great boon to the economy, pumping liquidity into the economy, keeping people pretty flush, even if they're not working, and in fact, keeping all of the financial markets rather buoyant when otherwise almost certainly they would have collapsed without it, right? So the thing is, the great weaning is basically the government, along with the Federal Reserve, its partner in this project, beginning to pull away from all of the support. Now, we don't know, and I certainly do not know, how our economy and how our nation will look once all of this support is withdrawn. Now, the good news is, the reality is that all of the support will never be withdrawn. There are some structural changes that have been inputted that will be permanent, and certain levels of support that predated the CV-19 pandemic will also be able to run on and on and on. And so the great weaning is more like a partial weaning, but still, even that will have a dramatic effects on the economy. Okay, so let's take a review of what is ending, what has ended, and what will be ending in the future. All right. So the PPP, that is Paycheck Protection Act loans, that basically allowed the government to pump liquidity into small and medium-sized businesses to help keep them afloat during the CV-19 crisis. The applications and the funding of such loans ended in May, right? So that portion of government support, it has already ended. Now, the forgiveness process for the loans that have been made, that will go on for a while, right? But the new loan applications and the funding has already ended at the end of May. Now, in addition to that, the corporate bailouts, these are the massive bailouts to large corporations, airlines, hotels, restaurants, others that were a key aspect of the government response to the CV-19 pandemic. Most of those programs actually ended last year, right? So that part of it has already diminished, and the financial sector, which actually had been under support all the way going back to the Great Recession of 2008, 2010, much of their support has also been now withdrawn, right? So that part of the great weaning has already occurred. Now, there has been a foreclosure moratorium instituted by the federal government for many millions of persons who had been put out of work by the CV-19 pandemic or lost income in some other way and were thus unable to pay for their rents and things like that. That program has or will be ending in June, at the end of June. Some states have already begun, states and local governments who have their own programs, they have already begun to pare back on this as the CV-19 pandemic has begun to diminish. But the actual federal program, which was extended by the Biden administration in his stimulus program, that will be ending in June, formally at the end of June. All right. Now, again, as a key aspect of the Biden stimulus project, along with the Dems in Congress, were the direct payments. Now, we received three rounds of direct payments, i.e., stimuluses, through the CV-19 pandemic. The first one was $1,200 last spring, then $600 in the winter, and then the Biden administration and the Dems kicked in another $1,400 as soon as Mr. Biden could get in the White House. Now, I don't see there being any more direct payments as a result of the CV-19 pandemic. So that particular stimulus part of the program will also be ending, right? So, or actually has ended, because really the last of the $1,400 payouts from the Biden stimulus really were put out, say, in late May. So really that portion of it, the American people have already been kind of weaned off of. All right. Now, what is still out there are the enhanced unemployment benefits. Now, this program began last year. The federal government began kicking in an additional $600 a week for persons who were cast out of work by the CV-19 pandemic. That was eventually pared back to $300 weekly. Now, as the CV-19 pandemic has really begun to diminish, as vaccine distribution has ramped up, some states, mostly Republican states, are really trying to push people back into the workforce, right? And they have already either ended the additional payments, or they have put in restrictions to basically force people to go out and look for work and receive work, right? Not decline it. Now, officially, the program on the federal level will end in September, right? So that will end in September, but some on the state level have already begun to pare back or end the program in general. And that is a big part of the Great Weaning, right? Now, there are some programs that will survive the Great Weaning. For example, loan forgiveness programs. Boy, there are a bunch of them. The federal government, they're trying to forgive farm loans and student loans and mortgage debts and all kinds of things that they're doing. And these programs will go beyond 2021, right? And so there is still that. The SNAP benefit expansions that were a part of the Biden stimulus, that will go on indefinitely, right? So food stamps and other SNAP benefits will go on for those who are in need, as will expanded Medicaid benefits under the Obamacare law, which the Biden administration and the Dems in Congress really expanded dramatically in his stimulus program. And then, of course, there's the quantitative easing program from the Federal Reserve, which has been shoveling money to the federal government and also buying bonds and other debt instruments from corporations in order to keep them liquid, keep their debt liquid, so that they could continue to operate during the CV-19 crisis. That is actually going to continue for some time. And really, this is a program that originated back in the Great Recession days of 2008, 2010, and it was ramped up dramatically last year and will continue to run for a while. All right, so here's the deal. How will our nation and our economy and the investment environment look once the Great Weaning has come to completion? I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. I will say this, though. For people who are making easy money today in either stocks or real estate or other asset classes, man, you folks had better really knuckle down and look at what you're doing. because once the great weaning really begins to take effect and the American economy can somehow begin to stand on its own 2 feet, many of these high flying asset classes will come down to earth. That is a fact, right? And so it's easy as pie making money now, but that will not always be the case. Really review what you're doing. Think about the actual quality of the assets that you are holding or interested in investing in, and give thought to profits, earnings, dividend pays, things like that. These are all evidence of value, true value that's being produced by any company that stock you own, and thus, you can feel confident that this thing has a future with or without massive government support. All right, so those are my thoughts this week. Please, if you found this interesting and insightful, hit that thumbs up button. Yes, InvestStrong loves it when you do that. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the Great Weaning and all of the programs that have been put in place really over the last 13 years in order to support our economy. And let me know your thoughts on that. And of course, subscribe. Yes, subscribe to Invest Strong. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much, friends, and good blessings.